Well, I'll just start. A very good afternoon. Thanks to the organizing committee of this conference, to all my dear colleagues, seniors, for giving me a chance to talk on what I feel is a very important topic. I have been blessed with a lot of junior and upcoming surgeons over here so that they can appreciate what we need to really take care of. It all happens when you're not suspecting. A patient came, a very famous cricketer, for the purpose of an allergy test. We stopped all medicines. We started our skin prick test, and lo, she developed anxiety, rashes, and syncope. We had posted a routine case for an endobronchial ultrasound. We were starting the intubation. The anesthetist was inducing. Suddenly, the patient went into hypotension, developed a lip swelling, and circulatory collapse. Immediately, it came to our senses that the patient is suffering from a condition called as anaphylaxis and anaphylactoid shock. Be very careful. It comes when you are least suspecting, and all you need to do is not to be fearful. Just inject immediately adrenaline in the outer thigh. Though it might sound a very simple and obvious thing to do, but believe me, this response time is what really matters in saving the life and future morbidity in an anaphylactic patient. You have to be very careful. Anaphylaxis is life-threatening. It may happen minutes to 2 to 3 hours after an allergen exposure. The problem is, if you do not take a proper history of the drug, of a previous allergen, or of a previous history, you don't know what is that allergen exposure. And believe me, this is one situation you do not want to fall into. You do not want your patient to go into type 1 mortality. It is dangerous. The lifetime risk of anaphylaxis is 0.5 to 2%, and the biphasic reaction is 1 to 20%. Why that is important is because some of your patients might develop anaphylaxis 72 hours after your surgery also. So that history is very important. You need to identify common triggers. What are these triggers? I was not there yesterday, otherwise in the dinner I would have pointed out peanuts and seafoods may cause anaphylaxis. Your commonly used beta-lactams and NSAIDs may cause anaphylaxis. Your bee stings can cause anaphylaxis. And what I am talking about in the later part, latex can cause anaphylaxis. What is the most common symptom? Most common symptom is urticaria, seen in 90% of the cases, followed by respiratory distress, which can even cause stridor and laryngeal edema. You can have hypotension shock, which is the most highest mortality indicator, so be very careful if your patient develops anaphylaxis, followed by a multi-system involvement. Be very clear, anaphylaxis is a clinical diagnosis. It is not a lab diagnosis. If you don't know the allergen, your patient has a multi-system involvement, it is anaphylaxis, epinephrine do. If you know the allergen, there are 2 or more organ involvement, and epinephrine do. And if you have hypotension after a known allergen exposure, 100% epinephrine do. You have to keep on giving epinephrine immediately in a concentration of 1:1000 with no absolute contraindications. No second thinking. In a reaction time, immediately intramuscularly you can inject it. People who have it repeatedly, there are things called as EpiPen which are available, so you should take a history, was any gadget given, followed by your routine A, B, C, D, E, in which you should lie the patient flat, give IV fluids, and try to monitor the other vitals. This is one very important point which I would like to make. Corticosteroids come after epinephrine. Don't go and rush for Dexa do, Deriphyllin do, ye do, wo do. It all comes afterwards. First push in the epinephrine, then give in your antihistamines, H2 blockers, steroids, and beta-2 agonists. You go for your routine management. Remember the vital thing. If your patient has had any operative event, there might be a chance of a biphasic reaction. Be very careful. Any such patient, monitor for a minimum of 72 hours and then only let them go. Now, if your patient is having refractory anaphylaxis, not responding to epinephrine, what will you do? After 15 minutes, give 1 more shot of epinephrine. If not working, give 1 more epinephrine. Still not working, give it IV, or you can go for other drugs like glucagon, methylene blue. There have been reports of the patients going to ECMO support also. So, learn it the hard way, learn it from my lecture, learn it from life, but anaphylaxis is not a joke. There are several other modes of administering epinephrine. which are coming up: intranasal, sublingual, and transcutaneous. So be very watchful, and in your surgical practice, in your OTs and in your OPDs, try to keep epinephrine at hand. I'll skip all of this and come to the other, I feel, very relevant part of my talk, which is latex allergy. Latex allergy, which I feel talking to surgeons is of some relevance. Why? Because routine population 6%. But a healthcare worker heavily exposed to latex products will have a latex allergy of almost 20 to 25%. And this is a data from the states. We don't have our own data of latex allergy. Not only is latex allergy important because a lot of products have latex in them, but more so कि latex allergy के साथ में they can even cross react. If you're a surgeon and you're having latex allergy, you eat a banana, avocado, kiwi, potato, tomato, you might end up into an anaphylactic shock. So I am not asking you to stop. I am not asking you to be afraid. I am just asking you to be more careful and more aware of latex allergy in you yourself because of the heavy exposure to protective equipment and in your patients. Latex allergy is very common. This data is overall, but we have documented papers of up to 25% in surgical branches and anesthesias. We have to be very, very clear. The symptoms will be similar to any allergic reaction like itching, redness, hives, sneezing, throat, and difficulty breathing. These are the gloves. What is latex that we are talking about? Latex is the sap of this particular tree, Hevea brasiliensis. They sap it out. It is basically a protective agent of the tree to insects. This protective agent we are using to make our most commonly used equipment, which is gloves. This is the actual photo of a patient who had a glove allergy. The whole hand became red. So you have to be careful. This can happen to anybody. Healthcare workers who are heavily exposed to these products will be more predisposed to develop latex allergy. You need to be very careful, very observant. I just had 2 pediatric surgeons, my respected teacher also talking over here. So children who undergo repeated surgeries with spina bifida or those with chronic urinary or renal problems who undergo repeated surgeries might be predisposed to latex surgery. So it's all in front of you. What is most important is recognition. Recognize and understand anaphylaxis will never come with a visiting card. It will just happen. And you yourself as surgeons might be more predisposed if you are in a long surgery and decide to have a banana. Lo, ho gaya. It can happen. It is documented. Common items containing latex: rubber bands, stethoscope, shoe covers, medical gloves. And this is a slide taken from 2025. Some may say कि latex तो गया नहीं है. It's very much there. So be careful. It might not only be your gloves, it can be something else also. So be careful. The common things, suppose you don't talk about medical equipment. What are the common things? Balloons, erasers, rubber bands, they all have latex. So a very important part of your preoperative history should contain latex. The other fruits which I am repeatedly talking about, I am not telling surgeons to not take it, but the thing is, be aware. And if you have a problem, definitely try to avoid. The symptoms can be very many, from very mild to very severe, but only awareness and knowing is the key, and avoidance is the only treatment. There are 3 things which can happen once you come in contact with latex. Type 1, which is life-threatening. Type 4, which comes eventually, allergic contact dermatitis, the treatment of which is steroids. And then you have irritant dermatitis, in which you have to apply topical steroids. The arms or the hands will typically look like this after repeated glove wearing, and they can even look like this with even nail and your proximal and distal joint involvement. How do you evaluate it? Take a thorough history. Examine the patient. There are various very good tests available, but the best test is a skin prick test. You simply do a scratch test with a latex and you can understand. I even feel that some junior surgeons should go ahead and do a paper or research on it. How many of them are actually allergic to latex? Treatment, I have already described. If it is mild, avoidance. If it is moderate, avoidance. If it is severe, avoidance. You have to avoid it. All the other is just roquifying. It will just stall it, but you have to avoid it. Very important thing is, how do you protect yourself? Use non-latex gloves, particularly try to use powder-free gloves and learn to recognize the symptoms of latex allergy, the most symptoms. Suppose if not you, but your patient might be latex sensitive, what do? Try to pose the case as the first case of the day. That is the most useful tip I feel we can take. And the others are screening for all the patients for latex allergy. Remember, whatsoever instrument or equipment contains latex, there is already a latex-free alternative available for it. So you don't need to be depressed, you don't need to lose the patient. If you think non-latex material is in any way inferior, then you might be very wrong. Look at the comparison of latex with nitrile, neoprene and vinyl. Almost good biological production, the only thing is pricing. And remember, as far as material like gloves are concerned, latex will always be number one. I am talking about natural rubber latex. I am not talking about the synthetic stuff. Nitrile, neoprene and vinyl are all synthetic. So there are other things also which you can use if you have suspected latex allergy, that is having low protein gloves, powder free gloves or no latex gloves, which are these three namely. So my final slide would be just to emphasize the extreme importance of a clinical diagnosis. Always give epinephrine first and maybe think later. Go for A, B, C, D, E. Corticosteroids come after epinephrine as far as anaphylaxis is concerned. Always an observation period of 24 to 72 hours. And whenever you discharge, please educate the patient to go and see an allergist. You can also send them to me. Thank you. I am sorry to the chairperson, I started. उन्होंने बोला जल्दी करो तो जल्दी करो.
Thank you, sir. I think single or two questions are requested if everybody knows.
Thank you, Ravi sir. As you have already covered this topic very vastly, for surgeons, I would like to say that whenever the patient comes in OPD, make a habit in the OPD paper itself to document all the allergens and to give antibiotics preoperatively in the OT itself, so that we are in the having the best possible ways to deal with the allergic reactions. That's what I want to say.